Hello, fellow YouTubers. How you doing? Hi. Because East Celceta comes out sometime this week in North America, I wanted to do not a video about the game itself. I've played through it. I beat it a while ago. It's still kind of there, but it's not. Let's just say it is another spin to East 4, kind of adults' adventures through Celceta, which, if I recall right, is kind of like Earth's Spain. But it's it's a really fun game. I really enjoy the music. I hope that people who've played Dawn of Ys or even Mask of the Sun and do get around to playing Celceta, that they enjoy this adaptation of it. Personally, I like what it does. It does something that's maybe some fans aren't so like, yeah, I don't know. I really liked it. I thought it was interesting. I thought it was fun. And I hope you do, too. But the purpose for this video is I wanted to talk about where Ys came from, really. And that... I don't mean in the sense of, like, oh, but, Nihon Falcon made it. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about something that even surprised me. I didn't even know about it. I was kind of... I don't even know why I found out about it. I don't know how I found out about it. but it is based off of a Breton myth, and Breton is a part of modern day France. Well, no, I shouldn't say part of modern day France. It's part of France, and it's kind of this peninsula that's south of Britain or England or the UK, south. So, and it's. And here, there's these the Breton people have this myth, and it's about this city, this wonderful, wonderful city called Ker-Ys. I'm sorry, I'm butchering it. I don't speak Breton, but it's called Ker-Ys, and I wanted to tell you a little bit about this myth here. So the myth starts with this king of Cornwall, and his name is Gaijin. In Breton they call him Graelin. There's a lot of kind of mix mashing names and stuff. So for this, I'm just gonna call him Graelin. And he's king. He's a really good navigator, and he's also a really awesome warrior. So what he does is he takes a whole bunch of boats and men and travels north. And he totally starts rocking the people of the north. That's all that's listed. However, his men kind of, they don't mind it, but it's getting kind of cold, and they're like, we want to go home. We got wives, or we want to find wives, or it's cold, kind of thing. And so when the king orders them to siege and take over a castle, they're like, no, we're not going to do that. So he eventually lets his men leave. He stays behind by his lonesome self, and his men leave. They take all the boats, and they just leave him there in the north. And when they leave that night, he's approached and kind of by this beautiful, beautiful woman with this incredibly red hair, incredibly just flame-like hair. And yes, she is Queen of the North, Malgven. It's kind of Malgven, Malgven. And she approaches him, and she's like, "Oh, young thing, you got some vigor to you. My husband, King of the North, he's old. Sword's rusty because he don't use it. Let's kill him. And if you do so, I'll come back with you and be your queen." And it's kind of like those myth things. You're just kind of like, oh well, okay, well, Graelin, he falls immediately in love with this woman, as the myth goes, and is just like, okay, sure, yeah, let's do that. So they go, and they are able to find the King of the North, and they kill him. He's old. And so the people there are free to enjoy whatever kind of freedom they have and whatnot. And basically, they kill this king, take a chest, just a chest, only one chest full of gold, and they start to leave. Thing is that they don't have any boats, so they've gotta find a way to get back. And because this takes place, still within a certain time frame of when his men left, Graydlin is like, oh, maybe I can catch up to my men. Well, Malgvin has this amazing horse that is pretty magical. It is just this black steed that breathes fire out of its nose and has this wonderfully just kind of Deus Ex Machina kind of thing. Just this wonderfully timed ability to run on the waves of the sea. Yeah. So they hop on the steed and they make haste to his men. Graydlin and Malgvin catch up to his men, and he takes over the flagship and starts to sail east. Now, unfortunately, in doing so, he's heading towards this kind of mist island, this kind of place, and a horrible storm breaks out and flings ships all over the place. But one ship goes there, they're strung all over the place, and his ship it gets flung somewhere, and they are stuck out at sea for a year. And during this year's time, the king has totally slept and banged Malgvin who knows how many times. But she gets pregnant and has a child, and the child's name is Dahut. D-A-H-U-T. Dahut. Like I said, sorry I'm butchering the pronunciations here. But Dahut's born, and unfortunately, it depends. There's also many different versions of the myth, I guess you'd say. So with this one, I'm going to say she keels over. But there's others where she still lives for a long time, and for this version, she passes away, and Graydlin becomes very, very depressed. And once he finally gets back home, he just kind of locks himself away in the castle and doesn't really come out. He's really, really sad panda. And his daughter grows up into this beautiful, beautiful young woman. And she has this affinity towards the sea. She was born on the sea. She lived first year on the sea, and she's just enamored by the sea. So she asks Papa, her father. She asks her father if he could build her like this grand home close to the sea. And he really loves his daughter. She's grown up to be beautiful, just like, and looks very, very much like Malgvin, but instead of kind of red hair, she has golden hair. And so he agrees and hires just thousands of architects and kind of these designers and laborers and stuff to build this wonderful place. And what they do is they build it in a bay. And the water's receded, and they build it in this bay, and they think it's a good idea to do this, but they make this incredibly strong, massive, impenetrable wall of stone and stuff that's kind of like a dike to keep out the water, so it doesn't get. So they build this place, and they have these kind of like these just elaborate bronze doors that keeps everything safe, and the king has the key to it. And as they build this, it's this gorgeous place, and people, coming from all sorts of which ways and stuff. It is right there by the ocean, so you have fishermen coming by. The fishermen happen to see this young, beautiful woman, Dahut, Princess Dahut, and she's singing this song. She's singing a song about how much she loves the sea, how much she adores it, how much she gives herself to the sea, kind of thing, and how much that she just is just like, oh, the sea, I love you, kind of thing. And she, during this, kind of goes a little, and she makes this kind of deal. She swears, that if the sea will give her kind of like wrecked cargo as as well as sailors, that she'll give the sailors back as a as a as an offering to the sea. And so this goes on for many, many years, is that you have these wrecks happening, and so they're getting a whole bunch of money from all these wrecks, because these wrecks have a lot of precious cargo in them, as well as she's bedding sailors. And how it would go is that during the day she would kind of flirt with these men, and then she would, during like the night festivities, she would give them this black mask. Now, in different types of the myth, she has this. She's kind of making this pact with the ocean, kind of thing. So she has this kind of like dark magic kind of thing that people are like, oh my god, what's this? And I'll explain that a little bit later. But so she has this black mask, and this is how she picks her companion for the evening. And so they don this black mask, and then she whisks them away to her bedchamber, and they, do bedchamber things. And in the morning, as the sun is rising, and the birds are kind of, signifying, hey, it's morning, guys, get the fuck up, kind of thing. The mask actually wraps around the sailor's neck and starts to choke it, and suffocates and strangulates the sailor until it dies. And so she would have a kind of a runner, somebody's on a horseman, take this sailor and throw them into another bay, the Bay of the Dead kind of thing, and Ker-Ys, and they just, here you go, thanks ocean. So this goes on for a very, very long time. And unfortunately, to the eyes of people of the Christian faith, they see this place as a very sinful, very evil place, and all this sort of thing. And, well, let's just say that it gets its upcomings. And the thing is that one day, as Dahad is kind of, perusing the sailors kind of thing, she sees this man on this dark black steed, and he's handsome, he's elegant, and he's got some gravitas to him from the looks of it, and she wants him. And this man is dressed fully in scarlet, and he kind of refuses. He just doesn't even really acknowledge her throughout the day. Her kind of trying to enchant him. And the thing is Dahad's not ugly by any stretch of the imagination. She's recorded as being this beautiful and gorgeous woman, like one of the most beautiful at the time. And Ys at this time, despite her being doing this dark stuff, is seen as kind of the pinnacle place to be. It's the best city in Europe at the time. And as I said, many of the myths differentiate like when it was built or how it was built, and like what time it might have been built. It's a myth. So, but this myth, it could be like thousands of years ago kind of thing, and there's a reason why it's probably thousands of years ago, but I'll get to that later. And so she tries, but she's spurned, and she's not going to give up. So during the night festivities, she comes up and tries to, kind of dine with him, and he actually agrees. And so they're dining together, and this storm breaks out. this just horrific storm. The winds are howling, the waves are crashing across against this giant wall. And what's the thing is that it's doing this, and she tries to comfort the knights as if, or the stranger is not really a knight. He's just it's just described as a stranger, and she's like, "Oh, don't worry, the walls are impenetrable. There's nothing that can destroy them or anything." And for some reason, I don't know if it's just what that's going through this guy's head. He says, well, if your father has the key, you could take it for yourself, kind of, maybe as a way to see it as trying to feed her mind that she can even have more power, because it could be kind of, it's not really, they don't really define it too much. And like I said, the stranger in some myths doesn't even exist. So, but for this version, this one that I'm telling, this is what it is. And he convinces her that she should take the key of the sluice gate that's holding, this dike that's holding back this massive storm, the thing that's going to bring him down. So what ends up happening is she does sneak into her father's bedchambers and tries to steal the key, and it's on this silver chain. And once she gets the key, King Graydlin wakes up, as well as a massive tidal wave comes crashing into the city of Ker-Ys. And what happens is, tons of people are dying, yet they are able to escape. And by they, I mean Dahut and her father, Graydlin. And they jump onto the steed that Malgvin had, this magical steed, more of Arch. I'm sorry, I'm butchering names, and they jump onto the steed, but there's a problem. The steed's not able to it's having to fight against all this water that's kind of like crashing into him and stuff. And a big voice kind of booms out to Graydlin, you let your daughter go. And it's kind of like, and eventually he listens to this voice, and his daughter kind of gets pushed off, or kind of gets swept away by these waves that are gets crashing into them, and her Dahut becomes a mermaid. And that's what happens. She gets sucked into the water and becomes this mermaid. And Graydlin escapes, and the city of Ys is submerged and drowned in just this deluge of water, just inundated with it, and it is just gone like that, gone like Elvis. And so Graydlin just kind of, he goes off, and he eventually finds another place to call his home. And actually, I think even nowadays they still have a statue that's it's kind of like him on a horse, if I recall, and kind of respecting and honoring the man. But the city of Ys is now gone. It's submerged, and you have this tale of Dahut, that's this mermaid, and you have a submerged city that's allegedly, in the myths, on a quiet night, you can hear the bells still chiming from the submerged city. And also, Ys is, it's spelled it's spelled Y-S and stuff, and Ker-Ys is kind of the Breton way they say it. I think Ker is supposed to be like K-E-R. I think it's supposed to be like a city or fortress or something, and Ys. And it's said that because of this happening, kind of they have this other city. It's Lutetia. It was originally this city, but then when Rome conquered it with Julius Caesar, it eventually became known. No, that's actually what it became. It became known as this kind of Lutetia, and that Lutetia is now modern day Paris. And Paris is Paris, and there's not why it changed to Paris, because the myth is what they say is that it was like unto Ys, and so they call it Par-Ys. And now, like I said, that's part of the myth. Who knows why they changed it to Paris? There was things that they had called it something else other than Lutetia, L-U-T-E with the little action hyphen thingy, well, not hyphen thingy, but the accent mark, the T-I-A, and so they did that. And so who knows really, but that's why they call Paris that. And they also say that once Paris is gone, Ys will rise, Ker-Ys will rise once more, and that's where Ys comes from. Oh man, I know that was a really really lengthy thing, but I mean I hope I entertained you with that. Now the thing is with that is you have this stranger. Like in some stories you have the stranger. Some say in some myths it was the devil. That is Adol. Adol is sort of based off of the stranger, and in some games you can see it. Like in, for example, in Ys 5, there you go to this town, this small village, and they want nothing to do with you because there's this bad, like, you have red hair. Red hair people are ill omened, and it's kind of feeding off of that kind of thing. Ugh. You have the storm that blew Graydlin all over the place. That is actually, the storm that's enveloped the island in Ys 1 and 2. Hysteria. So you that's boom boom connection there. So yeah. So and instead of getting destroyed, the city of Ys corrupted. It uses super duper magic and goes up into the sky. It's a video game. So but yeah, it's a lot of very interesting stuff. I thought it was very interesting. I'll have links so if you want to read more about it and kind of follow the rabbit hole with just different things about that, because that myth is also based off of, it seems to be very, very similar to a Welsh myth, and probably some others. It's but I know. I really enjoyed history and myths and stuff, and this is a very, very random one that I'd never even heard of, and I guess not very many people out of they call it Brittany, or Little Britain, this area, and that's now part of France. And it wasn't until like the 18th century or something, late 18th century, that they finally were like, there was a book published about a lot of these myths. And this myth of Ys, for the context that I've told you, it seems to kind of fall around like the 15th or 16th century or so. It's been around for a few hundred years, but who knows exactly how long at least some version of that myth had existed for. And it's, yeah. So I know it might have been really long, but I hope it was interesting to some degree. I really, really like history, so I think it's a very cool way to kind of take some sort of historical, like a myth, I guess you'd say. I don't even know why I'm saying it's like a historical thing, but taking some sort of myth or something that might have been based off of something historical way, way, way back, and then taking that and kind of turning this into what Ys has become, or what would eventually become Ys, kind of thing. It's a very interesting kind of thing that it does that, as well as. It's kind of like it's seen as this myth is kind of seen as conquering the Celts kind of religion and stuff, the paganism at the time, and Christianity kind of taking over, because there's they call the stranger the devil, and he's saved because he's casting out this last connection to paganism that is his daughter, and very, very interesting stuff. So I hope to some extent it was interesting for you guys. Like I said, I'll put links down below so that if you're really, really interested in reading more about it and following the rabbit hole for different things and stuff, yeah. So thanks for, I guess, listening to this and whatnot. Yeah. So yeah, thanks. And if you do get to eat salsetta, enjoy. And I will talk to you later. Have a nice day.